Hey there, my name is Kelly Dale and I'm owner of Off the Beaten Path located in Forest City, North Carolina. For today's video, I'm going to show you how to make a new ring that is it's a cross weave, but it's also a ladder stitch style ring. So for what you'll need today, you're going to need 7 4mm round beads. They can be faceted, they can be crystals, they can be gemstones. I'm going to use pearls in mine today. You are going to need 20 4mm bicones. You will need some size 11 seed beads. You are going to need a half yard of 8-pound fire line. And to go with the fire line, you're going to need 2 either size 10 or size 12 beading needles, whichever you prefer. Along with that, you're going to need about 12 inches of 0.5mm stretch magic, or whichever kind of stretch material you prefer. And then you're going to need 2 big eye needles to make the band with the stretch material. Optional for this project is you can use 3mm rounds to do the ring band. That's what I'll be using, just because I found over the last few years that that's most comfortable for me to wear, and a lot of people, who purchase my rings. So let's get your materials together and we'll get started. Okay, so the first thing I've done is I've threaded my size 10 or 12, whichever you prefer, needle onto each end of a half yard piece of fire line. On one needle, and I'm right-handed, so I'll start on the right needle, I'm going to pick up a seed bead, a crystal, a seed bead, a round, a seed bead, a bicone crystal, and a seed bead. And I'm going to zoom in here so you can see again. I have the seed bead, the crystal, the seed bead, the round, the seed bead, the crystal, and the seed bead. Now I'm going to let those just kind of drop on down to my thread, and I'm going to pick up on the same needle. It can be the same or different, completely up to you, but I'm going to pick up a crystal, a seed bead, a round, a seed bead, and a crystal. Okay, so this is what I have so far. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold on, and I'm going to keep these beads here kind of up. I'm going to pull them off of the needle just a little bit, but I'm going to leave them up here close to where I won't have a hard time getting to them. And I'm going to take my other needle, and I'm going to cross through the crystal, the seed bead, the round, the seed bead, and the crystal. So I'm crossing opposite ways through those section of beads. Now I want these to be in the middle of my thread, so I'm going to put my 2 needles together, and I'm going to hold those while I pull the beads that I already had. So that when I pull it down, this is what I now have. This is the first seed bead crystal section that I picked up here, and then this was the section that I just picked up and crossed through. Now, on each needle, I'm going to pick up a seed bead, and I'm going to let those fall. Now on one needle, I'm going to pick up a crystal, a seed bead, a round, a seed bead, and a crystal. So just like this. Again, I'm going to slide it off of my needle just a little bit, and I'm going to take the other needle and cross through the crystal, the seed, the round, the seed, and the crystal. And this time I'm going to pull the needles opposite ways, and we want to make them lay down just like this. So you should have 3 rows now. Okay, I'm going to continue this, so I'm going to pick up a crystal on each needle, and I'm going to let those drop down, and I'm going to pick up a crystal, a seed, a round, a seed, and a crystal. Again, I'm going to slide these down, and I'm going to cross my needles opposite ways through my set of beads here and pull. Okay, so now this is four rows, and it's going to kind of bunch up, and that's okay. It won't bunch up once we do these next couple of steps, so don't worry about it. But we're going to keep going until we have 7 sets. So seed bead on each needle, let those drop down. Crystal, seed, round, seed, crystal. There's my set. I'm going to pull it down. I'm going to cross opposite ways through it. Okay, so now this is 5. Okay, and I want to do it till I have 7. So once you've got it finished, you won't have any pearls left. So crystal, seed, pearl, seed, crystal. Just like this. We want to cross through. Okay, that's 6. And we're going to do that one more time. Now, if you're doing this for somebody who has really tiny fingers, it's going to be the same exact technique. You just don't have to make the top as wide if you don't want to, or as many rows if you don't want to. Okay, so now as you can see, we have 7 rows wide here. So now what we want to do is I'm going to take the needle that's on this side, and I'm going to come through the very last seed bead here on this side, going back towards the other side. I'm going to pick up one seed bead, and I'm going to come through the very next seed bead. Pick up one seed bead, come through the very next seed bead. And I'm going to do this straight down the row. Seed bead, seed bead, and then I'm going to go through this last one here. Okay, so that this is what we have so far. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to take the other needle. I'm going to go through my last seed bead here on the end. Pick up a seed bead. Go through the very next one sticking up. Pick up a seed bead. Go through that next one. Pick up a seed. And I'm just going to keep picking up my seeds and going through. So that it looks just like this. And it's going to be curved a little bit once you pull it. And that's completely fine. That's what you want. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch one needle around to the other side. And I'm going to tie these 2 threads together in a couple of knots. Now, if you want to stitch or if you want to add more knots, you're more than welcome to. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my thread now, each thread, and I'm going to go around through the seed beads that I just added. Through the seed beads here on each side. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the other needle. I'm actually going to come back through this last section here. And then I'm going to go through the seed beads here on this other side. Just like that. And then I'll take my cutters and I'm going to trim the thread, because I never cut my threads at the knot. So that now I have the top here. So I have my needles threaded on each end, my big eye needles threaded on each end of a 12-inch piece of Stretch Magic, the 0.5. And now I'm going to take one needle and I'm going to come to one of my end pearls. It doesn't matter if it's this one or this one here. I'm going to go through it and I'm going to put my two needles together and I'm going to center the thread in that one pearl. Just like that. Now, on each needle, I'm going to pick up a bicone and I'm going to let that drop. And then on one needle, I'm going to pick up one bicone and I'm going to cross my needles opposite ways through that one bicone. So that it looks just like this. Now, if you don't want to use 3mm rounds, you can use your size 11 seed beads, but I prefer 3mm rounds. I'm going to pick up one round on each needle and let those drop. Then I'm going to pick up one round on one needle and I'm going to cross my needles opposite ways through that one round bead. And it's going to be kind of tight when you cross through, but that's completely fine. Okay, so I'm just going to repeat, picking up one on each needle and letting it drop. And then I'm going to pick up one on one needle and I'm going to cross my needles opposite ways through that one bead. And you will want to continue the band in this manner, but leave enough room so that I can show you how to add this last section here and connect it. Okay, so I've reached the length of the band that I want for my ring. So I'm going to end up by putting one round onto each needle. And once I do that, I'm going to pick up one bicone and I'm going to cross my needles opposite ways through that one bicone. Just like that. Okay, and I'm going to pull it down here so that you can see it. Then, once I do that, I'm going to take, and on each needle, I'm going to pick up one bicone. So one here, one here. And I'm going to take one needle. So I'm going to take the needle on this side here, and I'm going to come to the opposite 4mm round, which is the one here on the other end of the band, and I'm going to go through that one bead. I'm going to pull the thread just like this, and then with the other needle, I'm going to let the crystal drop down, and I'm going to tie my two threads together in a really good knot. And be careful not to get your crystal caught up in the knot. Okay, we don't want that to happen. And I normally put about 3 or 4 good knots into my thread. Now, when you use the stretch cord, you cannot, or I do not advise to go back through and reinforce with the stretch cord, because when they put it on, it may stretch out and your cord will come out. The extra cord that you've embellished with will come out. So then just trim your ends, and then when you put it on, now you have a really, really pretty ladder cross weave style ring. Now, like I said, if you know somebody with tiny fingers and they don't need it this wide, you might only want to do five rows like I have here. So it's just completely up to you. But as you can see, this ring has tons of possibilities as to the designs that you can do with it and the color schemes that you can do with it. So I hope you guys enjoyed learning how to make this really easy cross weave style ring. To kind of give you a heads up for what's going to happen maybe for the next 2 weeks, I've had a lot of requests to do a 3D heart. Valentine's Day is quickly approaching, so next week I'm going to try to do a tutorial on a 3D heart that you can make into a pendant, or whatever you want to make it into. And then the following week, I'm going to be teaching how to do St. Petersburg stitch, and I'm going to be teaching a bracelet with that one. Now, I get a lot of people who ask me to do videos on certain designs and certain projects, and I promise you I've got all these written down and I'm trying to get to them just as soon as I can. So if you've requested something and you haven't seen it yet, it's not because I forgot, it's just because I have a really long list at this point of things that people are wanting tutorials on. But I hope you guys are enjoying the tutorials. I want to thank each of you for watching these tutorials and for supporting me and these tutorials, and I hope that this year I can bring you a lot of fun projects. So I hope until next week you guys have a blessed week. Be sure and become our friends on Facebook. Check out our Etsy store, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.